But then again, Drew Blazsik comes in, talks about money. He never brings money with him.
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah. Oh, well, what are you going to do? Good morning, Drew.
Give me some of that Bitcoin.
Hey, good morning. How's it going?
Good. How are you, Drew?
Faith in finance.
Yeah, doing pretty good. Before I forget, just want to mention a couple things that I finally got my website up. It's Logos and Markets.
Give it one more time.
Logos and Markets, Logos and Markets. So I was on a.
And is the and spelled out A-N-D or is it the same?
A-N-D.
A-N-D. Okay. Logos and Markets. Okay.
And I was on a
.com, .net,
.com.
Okay.
I was on a this financial modeling podcast. They interviewed me, and that kind
You're
of
a model?
Sort of not. But that kind of put pressure on me. It's like, I got to create this website. I got to get this done. So that was kind of good. But so I'm going to start.
I mean, I don't mean to take offense, but you didn't think to do that when you were on our radio show? That was
No, Dave, I thought about it. I really did think about it.
Something big came up.
Yeah, something big did come up.
It's been on my mind for about a year.
Yeah, no, it's good. I can't wait to check it out. Logosandmarkets.com.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, and I'll try to do some lessons. I'm slowly putting stuff on there for people that want to learn finance and learn different option strategies, just basic stuff. And I'll try to slowly put stuff on there. So
good.
So I want to a couple things about some economic outlook. The Federal Reserve met, and they had some worries about stagflation. I could talk about that real quick if anybody knows what stagflation is. Stagflation is the worry, because there's typically a trade-off with unemployment and inflation.
Right.
When unemployment goes up, inflation goes down. So they always typically have a inverse relationship. Stagflation is the opposite, where both bad things happen. So inflation goes up and unemployment goes up. That means GDP goes down. That's what happened in the late 70s when Reagan took over. So that's the worry. And then they come in kind of worrying about that lately. You'll see kind of comments about it. But another thing, tariff legal battle. If you guys seen this, the federal trade court blocked President Trump's sweeping tariffs, starting exceeded his authority under the 1977 International Emergency Economic Power Act. So with judges, sometimes it's very political, and then it has to go up the ranks of the judges, and we'll see what happens because he's going to appeal it. And then the stock market had a slight. It's been going up, and if you look at it, like I mentioned this before, if you look at the stock market. And people were panicking in the media about tariffs and how it went down. But if you drew a line between what it was before and is now, it looks like nothing happened.
Yeah, right.
So
all that volatility, and we're right back where we were to start with.
The market's like an emotional child, like the ups and downs. But if you take the child's average of who they are in the long run, it's pretty consistent.
Spoken like a true father.
Yeah, that's it's like pretty much like your emotional child there. But and then I was kind of want to go over a few chapters of Rerum Novarum.
Oh, great. Okay.
So we kind of covered last one. We covered chapter 1 and 2. We'll see if I have enough time. I got chapter 6 here, but chapter 3.
Wait 1 second. One second. Okay, I've got confirmation. Pope Leo XIV's folks are listening. You're good to go. Okay. They take their inspiration from you, Drew.
Yeah. Chapter 3. He mentions Pope Leo XIII talks about the modern labor crisis. And it says that the working class suffers great injustice and misery, and this is the purpose of his encyclical. And he said largely due to the loss of traditional guild protections for the workers, and they saw that go away during this revolution of economic systems. He mentioned unrestrained capitalism, where workers are exploited by a small elite that he comments on. And then he also, and we talked about this plenty of times in Faith and Finances, rapacious usury. So he talks about which continues under new names despite repeated church condemnations. And that's what typically happens with usury. It's the tricks of finance to say this isn't usury, and they're always trying to change it. But it's really a debt society, and people that have money love debt because they're getting it without work. And here's a small quote from it. A small number of very rich men have been able to lay upon the teeming masses of the laboring poor a yoke little better than that of slavery itself.
Wow.
Which is a pretty powerful term.
Words.
Yeah. Chapter 4, it's the critique of socialism. So you had talk about unrestrained capitalism, because capitalism is very hard to define. But when you take advantage of the working class, that's unrestrained. And then you got the critique of socialism. Socialists' proposals to abolish private property are condemned. So he talks about it's unjust. It would rob rightful owners. Ineffective. They fail to resolve inequality and would harm the worker the most when you take it away. And then you saw that a couple decades later, you had the revolution of the communists. Disordering society by distorting the function of the state and denying the natural law basis for ownership. So it's kind of cool that he's talking about it's the natural law for humans to own.
And this is what gets me, Drew. Even today you hear people saying what the church really wants is a utopian socialist or communist. No, they're condemned. I mean, come on. This is ridiculous. We want all the workers to be honored and treated with dignity. That's not socialist and it's not communist. So let's be clear about that. No,
you're absolutely right. And then the quote in chapter 4 says, "Their contentious are so clearly powerless to the end controversy that they were carried into effect. The working man himself would be among the first to suffer." So it's really a protection of, and it always goes back to the worker, and it goes back to the family, the father to take care of the family. So it always goes back to that. And then chapter 5 is the right to private property. Here's a couple notes I have. Work is ordered toward the acquisition of property. So he makes that comment. Work is for that, and communists reject that. Nobody owns anything. Workers have a natural right to save wages and convert them into assets like land. Socialism threatens the dignity and hope of workers by denying their freedom to own and manage property. So those are the three main points for that chapter. Quote, "A working man's little estate thus purchased should be as completely at his full disposal as are the wages he receives for his labor." So it talks about that. It's as important to own property as just owning wages, getting paid to work. Which is a beautiful thing, how it protects workers, protects families.
And in particular, it talks about personal owned property, too. I mean, an important part for an individual to have dignity, to have a little piece of dirt.
Yes. And the profits of that dirt is to share in that. And then chapter 6, real quick, very simple, property in human nature, the human law, or the nature. Private property is rooted in natural law. It makes a comment again. Unlike animals, man has reason and free will, allowing him to plan for the future and own things permanently. So that's what the church is teaching. The right to possess enduring property distinguishes man from the animal world. So I think it's a pretty cool thing. And the last quote real quick. "Man alone among the animal creation is endowed with reason. It must be within his right to possess things in stable and permanent possession."
Yeah, and the dignity of work. And what are we looking at now? Pope Leo the 14th saying, look, let's look back to Leo the 13th and realize that AI could be a threat to this dignity of the worker as well. We've got to be very careful about this. And he's using this particular document to bring forward the understanding of the new threat.
And really, and it goes right back to the means of production. Like, individuals are supposed to own it, not just a select few.
Amen.
Well, to learn more, you got to go to the new website, logosandmarkets.com. Drew Blazsik, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I thought I had reserved that website. I think you owe me some money.
I do.
Money, 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 money. $10 for you to have.
All right, coming up next hour, we're going to be talking food, meals with Monsignor Michael Billion coming up, and a whole bunch of other stuff as well. So
pick a pop check, too.
Absolutely.